Hi there, my name is Tyler McNamer, and welcome to my studio space. This is where I usually go to write. Write my books, and also just doing a few recordings along with it too. So welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that's a little bit more on the deeper side of autism, and that is more on the first-person perspective. Now, I have mentioned too that on the first-person perspective of autism, I've written it in Population 1 before and during high school, and then later on with post-high school and the transition of adulthood with becoming one. So I've managed to put a bunch of information on those two books when it comes to the first-person perspective of autism. But let's go over a few questions submitted by you, and I will do my very best to answer them to the best of my ability. So let's get started. What are the most common symptoms of autism? Some of the common symptoms of autism includes being socially not in tune. And by that, I mean sometimes there are parts where they're very socially awkward and all kind of stuff too. Like on simple interactions, like saying hello. That can be quite challenging for folks that have autism. That's one of the common symptoms that you may have noticed, that you may have come across with people with autism. It's like sometimes socially it can be quite in a bit of an awkward position. And that's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that. I've always said right then and there that I never want to sugarcoat autism or the topic of autism, because it can sometimes be a scary experience having it. And that's why, and that's where it comes down to the second symptom of autism, and that happens to be, in a way, a child prodigy in itself. Example, like for someone that may be socially challenged, maybe that person could be a brilliant genius in mathematics. I know by experience too, because I knew a kid that I used to go to elementary through high school with, and socially he was very, let's just say, colorful and very artistic, I guess you can say too. It's like there's some sort of art into him as well. Socially, it's not his thing. But he is a genius in terms of mathematics. He knows his numbers. He knows how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, and all those good stuff too. In algebra, I would probably say he was even a professor level in terms of that part in mathematics, and I am so proud of him. I hope he's doing so well today. So think of it this way. When it comes to autism, of these common symptoms. So you trade the social parts into something else. Like you can trade the social skills into mathematics skills, or scientific skills, or even art skills, or any kind of skills that you can think of. You kind of just trade that social parts with these different kinds of skills that you probably go for, and that can be a good thing. That can be it's okay to not be socially in there, but have these other different skills along with it. It's okay. Sometimes we can just work on those social skills at another date, because I know in the world it's a very social place, and that's why in Autismworks we want to make autism much more workable, both on the skills department of everything else, and in the social department, in that sort of sense. So that's what we like to go for. So those are the common symptoms. Is socially they need some work on the social stuff, and on the other stuff they can be quite good. So fascinated by certain things. And another common system, let's go with 3 common systems. So the third one will be someone that is so extremely hyper focused on one thing. And take it from me, because I've had a good history when it comes to being so focused on just one thing. In fact, I actually remember there's a movie out there too. I'm sure you might know what this movie is, but I'm not going to give you the title, but I'll give you some hints. So Sony Animation, and there's a kid that's so obsessed with dinosaurs. So feel free to leave that on the comments if you know what this movie is. But it's true that a lot of people with autism are so focused on just one thing, and that can also be a very good thing too, because who knows, maybe later on in the future they can be extreme geniuses on that one thing, and that's okay. It's okay to be focused on one thing too. For me personally, I like to go with one thing, and then next I like to do other things too. I like to widen the personalities, to expand the personalities, I guess you can say, to expand the possibilities of these personalities, if that makes more sense. And to me, it's a lot of fun. It's like an adventure kind of thing too. So if you want to give it a try, just go right ahead. Go out exploring, expand, and get to know yourself a little bit more. You might be surprised that maybe there are some things that you may totally enjoy, and there are a lot of other things that you may not enjoy as much. But you never know unless you give it a try. so that's what I would say. Now moving on to the next question. What symptoms do you notice in yourself? So this is kind of more of a personal kind of take in these kind of symptoms. So some of these symptoms I kind of notice personally for myself happens to be very quite creative, and I try my very best to not be a part of this world, I guess you can say too, but be in my own little world, in my own little head. And I do so by write stories. I write all kinds of different stories. When I was back in elementary school, post high school, I was able to write 5 different kinds of stories in becoming one. Why did I do that? Well, for 2 main reasons. One is because I think it's fun to kind of write something that's more on the fictional side, more than non-fictional. And 2, I wanted to ask a personal question for you, the audience, and for you, the readers, which is basically the same thing. So the question is that, do you think that there is imagination and autism imagination, or are there no such thing, and that imagination happens to be more of a universal thing? So I'll leave it up to you to decide. And personally, I do not believe it. I believe that imagination is a universal thing. There is no such thing as autism imagination, or Asperger's imagination, or even deaf animation, or excuse me, imagination. I'm sorry, I got those two confused. So if you look at Beethoven, he was well known for his music, and being deaf happens to be just a part of him, but it's his music that he was very well known for. He loved his music. He composed his music, and everyone in the world knows him by his music, because that was his passion. And he was not going to let his loss of hearing slow him down. So that was basically kind of it. I still wrote the question in the book to make people think about that kind of stuff, because I would like to go back to the 4th common symptom of autism, and that is to see the world in a completely different point of view. And it's true. A lot of people see things differently. They hear things slightly differently, or they understand things in a very different point of view, and or in a different kind of perspective. And people would like to express these kind of different perspectives. I personally like to express it in terms of writing books. So So that was how I was able to express myself in that sort of way too. And I know that people can express in different ways, whether it be through animation or even music. I always like to keep the Haya album with me too. She's it's made by Julie Dagger. It's like one of my favorite albums. So so it's like if you want me on my good side, be sure to give me that album. But that's a joke too. I'm almost always on my good side when it comes to a lot of things. but yeah. So that's one of the symptoms. It's just being in my head when it comes to imagination and all that kind of stuff too, and just kind of escape and let the real world fade away, and take my pen and just start writing and just start to do a bunch of stuff. Occasionally, sometimes I like to do some doodles here and there too, but that's just only for me. It's like I'm not really much of a sharer when it comes to my doodles or anything like that. I just kind of just do them because they make me feel good, make me feel happy, and kind of just make me feel it's like one of those things where like one of the songs from the Julia Dagger, it's like she goes on the lines of, "You don't have to get it, but I'm not going to explain it." It's yeah, that's kind of for me when it comes to art and all that kind of thing too, and just kind of do whatever feels good, and that's been that way since elementary, and still kind of in that way here too. Most of the stuff I do when it comes to art, sometimes even in the books, they may not make sense to a lot of people, but sometimes it just takes some time to with clever thinking and a lot of wit to maybe out there someone could understand me in some areas too, and if they don't, then that's okay. I'm not offended or anything like that, and I just like to do what feels good to me, what makes me what's kind of makes sense in my mind, I guess you could say too. So so that's some of the symptoms I can get is to imagination and being oversensitive to a lot of different feelings, like the idea of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. I've oversensitive for that kind of stuff too. It's been that way for a while back then, and I guess it kind of came back even today too, when it's like sudden loud noises. Like it's kind of like makes me jump, I guess you can say too. It's like I try not to anyway too, but sometimes it kind of just happens, especially when it comes to new cars that make loud beeping sounds, I guess you can say too. It's like so not used to those kind of cars. I'm kind of used to those. I'm kind of used to the older cars too. Like I still have my 2000 Mercedes Benz and all that kind of stuff too. Where kind of just I like to keep things simple. One of my favorite parts of that car is to put 6 CDs into one compartment. I like to keep things simple that way. Just it's like the bells and whistles are pretty nice, but as long as you give me some music to play, then that's my kind of that's my kind of thing. So I guess my symptom is just keep things simple. Just kind of not complicate for these kind of things. It's makes me feel pretty feel good in that sort of sense. So moving forward, how do these symptoms affect your life? I will say that affect my life, and kind of it's more of kind of a lonesome journey. It feels lonely too, like it feels like I'm the only person that kind of I feel like I'm the only person that understands myself in that sort of way. it's kind of I know it sounds bad, but it's like it's so hard to kind of relate to other people in that sort of sense, because you think differently, you see things differently, and kind of it's just trying my best to relate in that sort of way too. That's why in Becoming One, I mentioned about this whole idea of becoming the mimic, and how I define the mimic is someone that observes and that would make the attempt to do what he or she does in that sort of way too. I know it sounds strange and bizarre and very odd and all that kind of stuff, but that's what I would do. I kind of try to understand what goes on and try to do and to become a mimic and all that kind of thing. And that's why in Becoming One I mentioned this whole thing about the alien theory, but I'm not going to talk too much about that. That's all in the book. And sometimes that's what I like to call autism at times too. Is I call it the alien kind of stuff too. But that's just me. That's just me personally. You don't have to agree with me. So, and that's what I'm pretty much all about. It's I'm always about. I always encourage people to disagree with me or to agree with me and all that kind of stuff. And for those that disagree, I'd like to hear your point of view too. It fascinates me. And it's just always kind of. It always kind of makes me think, challenge the senses, to challenge the knowledge and the wisdom, I guess you can say too. That's why every week I always like to go. I always like to walk over to the library. Literally, it's just up the hill and like 6 blocks down from where I live. So it it's like I like to learn. I like to learn that kind of stuff too. And I guess that kind of counts as a symptom too, where it's like I'm so into learning a whole bunch of times too that I just don't want to leave school and all that kind of stuff. Part of it not just because of the knowledge, but also because I get to be with kids and get to understand them and to learn the whole concept and the meaning of fun, which I think it's one of the most important lessons I've learned is to understand the meaning of fun and that kind of thing, and find my own kind of fun and to learn how to entertain others, like in both Population and Becoming, where it was true that back in school, I used to be the entertainer and all that kind of stuff too. Get to do things that can be considered as odd and just out there. But I've seen kids that have enjoyed what I do when it comes to dancing and putting on a show. So the symptoms, it can be it's more of an ups and downs. It's never always good. There's always some parts that can be rather not too good, and those can be kind of challenging and those kind of things too. But I'm not really much of a giving up person. If you know what I mean. I just it's like it hurts, but I just want to keep on going. I just want to keep on making those mistakes, keep on doing things that feel good for me, and just I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want to do what feels right in my mind, and people can follow if they want to. So that's the way I kind of say it. That's my personal take on these areas. So next question: how have you worked to either conquer your symptoms or use them? So in Autismworks, we are not about to get rid of autism. We are all about negotiating and working with autism. That's why we call it Autismworks, because it's all about working with it. It's all about negotiating with it, and I've tried to get rid of it and tried to get rid of all there is about autism, but unfortunately I just couldn't. It ended up kind of hurting myself in that sort of sense. So I just learned to ultimately just negotiate with it and kind of just learn how to use some abilities, like for example, use your imagination or the ability to put on a show, or the ability to entertain and to do things that may be out of the norm, and I just learned to use these things for good. I want to use these things for good. I want to use these things to get to know people and get to entertain people and get to share these knowledge with people in that sort of sense. And to me, it makes me feel like I've put out something to give for the world in that sort of way too, and just use autism as just a part of it, just a part of as what I like to call a superpower. And there's always these things when it comes to superheroes that they never ask for these powers, and sometimes they try to. Sometimes I've seen superheroes that try to get rid of their superpowers, and that's the thing about superpowers, is that you get to use them either for good or you can use them for evil. So it's up to you. It's your choice on how to use these extraordinary abilities and to make good use of them. So it's all up to you. I don't make your decisions. So that's how I would say it. I've used my abilities to entertain and to educate with my audience. So, what do you use your autism for? Would you use them for education or entertainment, or maybe you could even use them for your own personal benefits, like, for example, doing artwork, or and art is always really good. Your personal benefit. There is absolutely nothing wrong with what you do, because art in its own concept is freedom, and you can use your freedom however way you want, and you can choose if you want to share your art. It's all up to you. But the most important thing is to always use your art for your own personal benefits, and to whatever makes you personally happy, and you're not hurting anyone. And so when you make your art, always be sure to ask yourself, what is it for me? What does this do for me? So I'll leave it up to you. So that's why I've always been a humongous advocate when it comes to art in its entirety. So it's always so fun. It's always fun to get to see all kinds of arts around the world like that. And finally, let's go with one more question. I know that the time frame down here kind of lets me go in a certain time. So let's get started. Or let's finish this. Excuse me. It reads, what do you recommend for others with autism to do to make their own autism more workable? So what I recommend is to have self-discovery amongst yourselves, and it's not always a solo journey when it comes to self-discovery. You can always ask a loved one, whether it be your parents or family members or your teacher or even your best friend. Who am I? Or what do I do? Or what can I do to challenge myself, to challenge my senses, and even try new things along the way to make autism much more workable. Because I know that autism can be challenging. I know that. I've seen people they try to sugarcoat in when it comes to autism, but it's always never the case. It's it can even though there are a lot of good things about that we want to celebrate, we just want to acknowledge some stuff that can be scary and terrifying, and it's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that and to talk about that. So it's okay to talk to others about how you feel, and don't ever worry. Just don't ever think that people would not understand when you start talking. They will listen, and when they don't understand, it's okay. It's okay, but here's something that's very important: is that people want to try to understand. They want to understand, and when they do, and they will someday. They will someday understand, and when they do, they will absolutely help you. They will help you for your future. They will help you deal with whatever goes on. So it's always just start talking, start expressing, and if you don't have the ability to talk at the moment, just keep on practicing. Just practice, practice on making significant progress. And there will be a time where you will be able to communicate in your own way, whether it be through a tablet or a computer or words, or even writing. And when you have the ability to communicate, do not hesitate to celebrate. Listen to that! I just came up with that on the spot. Let's see if I can say that again. So when you communicate, do not hesitate to celebrate. Oh boy, oh man, this actually feels really good. So I guess I'm going to take time to celebrate after this. Oh my word. So that's why we would recommend to make it all workable. So feel free to just talk it over and to. Even with a counselor, I still have my counselor after all these years, and I've had him since third grade. So that's why I would definitely recommend to work it out, to make it all workable, and to use your extraordinary abilities to make it all workable, both for you and for those who care for you. So that's why I would. I'll recommend. That is all the questions for today. I would leave you all for now. I will see you all in the next video, and thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for having me the opportunity to invite you to my little studio and to talk about autism systems from the first person perspective. So I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave it up to you to challenge yourself. And remember, there are no limitations, only adjustments. Thank you very much. Howdy, you fellows and folks. My name is Tyler McNamer, and welcome to my car. So I just wanted to make this very short, and basically what this is about is I want to get to know more questions that you, the audience, would like to ask me. It can be any questions that you want, whether it be about autism or whether it be personal. So you can just ask me what my favorite color is. Well, I'll give you a hint. You're looking at. So anyway, I just wanted to ask you to ask me questions, any kind of questions you want, whether it be personal or something autism related. And every question that you submit will be equivalent to one iced vanilla latte. So ask away. Icy cold and delicious, just like your questions. All right, that's all for today. Thank you.